Hi guys, in this video I will show you how to modify our registration page like this. As you can see, we are having a background image for our registration page, and if I click on this refresh button, see we are getting some zoom out effect. So I will show you how to do that. And then let me log in here with my details. Let me enter the password as well. So if I click on this login button, see we are getting our homepage like this. So in this video we are only going to build our header. As you can see in the header, we are having a text like my marvel, and we are having a author here. And if I click on this author button, see we are getting a logout button. And if I click on this logout button, it will display an alert box, and in that alert box we are going to add a content tag. Are you absolutely sure? And if I click on this cancel button, see we are getting back to our home page. And if I click on this continue button, it will log out the user. But before that, our project will look like this. So here, as you can see, we're having a categories list, and we're having characters, comic stories, and we're having a text like movies for you, and we're having a search search bar. So here, as you can see, we got some movies. And so here, as you can see, we're having a movie Wolverine. So if I type Wolverine here, see we are getting that movie after searching here. And then if I click on refresh button, see we are getting a skeleton here. So while waiting for a response from the server, we are going to display the skeleton. Once we receive a response from the server, it will display the movies list. So but in this video we are only going to build this header. So if I click on this logout button and then continue button, see we are getting logged out. So let's build this. So as you guys know, in the first video of our user authentication playlist, we have created a folder my app, right? And inside that we are having client and server folders. So first of all, let's on our client folder. So let me go to new tab, and here I'm going to type my app and then our client. So we have used Vite for our client. So to run our Vite project, we have to use npm and then run dev. So as you can see, after running that command, it is saying that port 5173 is in use, trying another one. So because currently I am running my another Vite project at port number 5173 to show you this code. So this is a demo of our upcoming project. So our client folder is running on localhost 5174 port number. So let's enter that in our browser. Localhost 5174. See, currently our output is this. So instead of this, we are going to build our registration page like this. So for that, this is our register component, right? So let's go to our register component, which is inside this components folder here. This is our registration component, right? And for this registration component, we have linked a CSS file with name register.css. Let's go to the register.css file and open it here. Now let me close the left side bar, and here inside this register component, see our root tag is this div tag with class name register container. So for this register container, let's add some background image. So here, instead of this background color, let me remove this and add background image. And to specify the image, we have to provide the value as url. So inside this url, we have to specify the path of our image, but we have not imported our image. So inside this source folder, I'm going to create a folder with name images. So inside this images folder, I'm going to import this image. So currently I have copied this image. So let me paste it here. So if I click on Ctrl V and click on paste, see we got that image here. So we're going to add this image as a background here. So let's give this path inside our URL function. So here, let me add this images, and inside this we have this JPG image. So now if I go to register component, oh, we are not getting that image, guys. I think we have to create another div tag inside our register component. So let's create a div tag with class name grandparent. Grandparent. And inside this, let's cut this code from here and paste it here. So now let's add this. Let's give styles to this div tag with class name grandparent. Dot grandparent. And inside this, let's cut this from here and paste it here. But still, it is not get. We are not getting that, guys. I think our index.css file is causing us an error. Let me go to index.css file. So this is our global CSS file. Whatever you write inside this, whatever styles you write inside this, those styles will be affected for all the components. As you can see here, we have added some styles for the button, like background color black, and then font size of some 1 em, and then border 1 pixel, solid transparent, and border radius as 8 pixels. That's why if I open all the components, see, we're getting the background color as black because here we have given that here. And if I go to login component, see, there also we are getting that styles, as well as if I go to forgot password, see, we are getting the same styles for that button because in our index.css file we have given those styles. So whatever styles that we given here index.css file, those styles will be affected for all the components. So here, see, we are having some styles for the body. So I think this is causing us an error. So because of this this image is not taking the full width and height. So for now, let me add this body as a comment. Let me comment it. Now let me open the browser again. See, the styles are changed. So now let's go to our register component, register.css. So here let me add the display as flex, and then place items to be center, as well as justify content to be center. Also let's add the minimum height as 100 vertical height. Now let's check. Okay, now as you can see, it is taking the full width, but the image is not clearly visible, right? Here as you can see, we can able to see more details in the image, but here as you can see, it is zoomed out, it is zoomed in. So let me add the background size as cover so that we can able to see the full image. So now if I open browser again, see, we can able to see the full image. So by adding background size cover, the image will take the available width and height, and it will display the image perfectly. So now here as you can see, for our register component we are having background color as some black. So let's add that black color for this here. So this input fields and button are inside our this data with class name register container. See, we are having here. So let's add some styles for this register container. So here dot register container, let's add the background color as 171616. So after adding this, we are going to get some light black color. See, we are getting that. So after that, here as you can see, we are having a content as register. Let's add that inside the h1 tag. So inside this register component, let's add a h1 tag as a register. Now if you see the output, see, we are getting register, but it is not centered. So let's add some styles for our h1 tag. So here, let me add dot register container, and then select our h1 tag, and let's make the text element to be center. See, now it is centered. So now let's add this red color instead of this white color. So let me copy this color by using this color gel extension. So here let me copy this, and let's add the color for this h1 tag. Let's make the color this one, bright red. So now if we see the output, see the color has changed. But as you can see, this text is more bolder than this text. So let's make this text to be bolder by using font weight property. So here let's add font weight as bolder. So now if you see the output, see the text got bolded. And then here as you can see, we are having the borders as light gray color. So let's add that here. Let's add that here as well. So for that, so the padding is also larger here compared to this, right? So let's increase the padding as well for the input tags. So here instead of 10 pixels, I'm going to add 15 pixels. Let me click on refresh, but those styles are not applied, guys. Home input. I think again our index.css file is causing us an error. Let me see styles. Let me add this root as a comment. Now let's check. Oh, I think we don't have to add this as comment. Let's make this as 35 pixels. but still we are not getting that, guys. I think here we have to give dot register container and then input. Okay, now we are getting that padding effect. So let's change this 35 pixels to 15 pixels. Okay, now I think it is similar to this, but we have to add box shadow. So here as you can see we don't have any box shadow for this input text. So let's add the box shadow as some 002 pixels of gray color. Now let's check our input. See, now I think it is similar to this. And if I click on this input tag, see we are getting some light red box shadow color. But here after clicking on this, we are getting border as white color. So instead of this, so here we have to use dot register container and then input. And here we have to use pseudo cross focus. So when you are focus on the input, we are going to add the box shadow as 002 pixels of this red color. Let me copy this and paste it here. So now if I click on this input, still we are only getting that white color. I think we have to remove the outline for this. Outline none. Now let's check. Okay, now it's working, I think. Yes, it is working. Let's increase the box shadow with as 3 pixels. Okay, now I think it's looking good. So here as you can see the button color is also red. So let's change this button color from black to red. So for that here let's add dot register container and then button. So as you can see in our index.css file we have some predefined styles, not predefined styles. We have added this styles in one of our previous video. So by adding this styles inside this index.css file, it will affect all our components. So let me remove this. Also this. So now if you see the output, see now we are not getting any styles for the button. So let's add some styles. So here let's add the background color as this red color and give some padding of 10 pixels and then some border radius of 10 pixels. Now let's check our output. See, now we are getting that red color. But here as you can see the font text is bolder as well as the font size is also larger than this. So here inside this button, let's change the font weight. Let's add font weight to be bolder and then increase the font size to some 20 pixels. So now if you see the output, see the text got bolded. And then, so after hovering on this, see we are getting some dark red color. So here also let's add that style. So let me copy this and then add pseudo classes. We're going to add pseudo class called, sorry, I have to copy from here to here and then let's paste it here and let's add the pseudo class as hover. So when hovers on the button, we're going to change the background color to some dark red color. Let's add some dark color. So now if I hover on the register button, see we are getting some dark red color. And then so here compared to this register form, here we are having so much space between this container as well as for this input text. See here. Also this label text is too small compared to this. So let's increase the font size of this as well as let's increase the padding size of this. So for that, let's select our label element which is inside our register container. Label and then let's increase the font size to be 20 pixels. Now let's check. Okay, now the font size is increased. Now let's add some padding between this container and this label tag. So these are inside our this class name grandparent. So inside this grandparent, let's add some padding of 30 pixels. Okay, I think we have to give padding for the register container. So let's increase this padding size of 20 pixels to 30 pixels. Now we are having some good space between the form and this container, right? So after that, let me go to login component. Sorry, before that, as you can see, we are having some zoom out effect for the background image, right? See, if I click on refresh, we are getting some zoom out effect. So let's add that zoom out effect by using animations. So here for this image, so here as you can see for our image, we are having some less, the brightness is less compared to this. Here as you can see the brightness is more compared to this image. So to decrease the brightness for that image, we have to use opacity property. So let's use opacity as 0.8. So now if you see the output, see now the brightness of the image is decreased. And then let's add some animation for that image. So for that we have to use animation property. So the first value will be animation name. So I'm going to give the name as animate image. So you can give any name you want. After that, we have to specify the duration of the animation. So I want to give the duration as 3 seconds and then infinite. So not infinite, only for one time. So the third value will be the iteration count. So if you give one, only one time will be that animation will be applied. If you give infinite times, that whatever styles you give for this animation, those styles will be applied for infinite times. So now let's add this. Let's add some animation for this animate image. So for that we have to use at the red keyframes, and then instead of replace this identifier with your animation name. Since I have given my animation name as animate image, let's give animate image here. Animate image. So here I'm going to use 0%, which means initially I want to use transform property. Inside this we have a we have a function called scale. So here the default value for any element is 1, but instead of 1 I'm going to use 1.2. So by adding this 1.2 we are going to get some zoom in effect, and when it reaches to 100% I want to add the transform as the default value, which is 1. So now if you see the output, so if I click on refresh, see we are getting that zoom effect, right? If I click on this, but I think if I click on this, compared to this, it is somewhat different. It is very slow compared to this. See? So let's decrease the duration to 1 second. So now let's check. If I click on refresh. Okay, now we are getting the animation speed is increased. So here as you can see, if I try to scroll down, our web page is moving. But in our demo, see now I'm using my mouse to scroll down, but the web page is not moving. But in our original project, if I try to scroll down, it is moving. So this is somewhat making our website ugly. See, if I click on refresh, our register component is not perfectly centered. It's because inside this register container, we have added margin 200 pixels, which means top to bottom 200 pixels. That's why, as you can see, it is not getting centered. If I try to scroll down, it is, see here we are getting some 200 pixels gap. It's because we have added 200 pixels here. So now let me remove this style. So now if I try to scroll down, now I'm using my mouse to scroll down, but it is not moving our web page. Now the styles are not making our web page ugly. See, if I click on refresh, still our registration form is in the center of the web page. See, okay. Now let's go to our login component. So if I click on this login, see the styles of the login component is changed because inside this index.css file we have commented the styles of the body. That's why it is came here. So let's add some styles for this login component. So for that, let me go to login component. Here we have linked a CSS style with name login.css. So let's open that. And here, sorry. So here, as you can see, in login component as well, we are having the background image. So inside this login.jsx, let's create another div tag with class name grandparent. And inside this, let's paste this code. Now let's add some styles for this grandparent. Okay, now let's add some styles for our grandparent. Before that, let me structure our code. Okay, let's add some styles to this grandparent. So here, let's use dot grandparent, and let's copy the styles that we have given inside our register.css file. So here, let me copy this and paste it inside our dot grandparent. So now if you see the output, So if I click on this already have an account login text, see we are getting that the styles that we have applied for register component are applied for login component as well. But here as you can see the color for this form is different when compared to this, right? So let's add this color for this login component as well. So for that we can here instead of this as 383737, let's add this background color hashtag 171616. So now if I open our login page, see the background color is changed, but these input styles are not changed, right? So let's add some padding as well as let's change the border color from white to this red color, not red, gray color. So for that, here instead of form input, we have to use dot login container, because as you can see, our input tags are inside this form and this form is inside this div tag with class name login container. So here inside this input, let's add the styles that we have added for this input register container input. Let me copy this and just remove these styles that are applied for input and let's paste this. So now if you see the login component, see the styles that we have applied for this register form are applied to this login page as well. But here as you can see the button color is not changed, right? Here in the register page the button color is red, but here it is black. So now let's copy the styles that we have added for the button here. So let me copy this and paste it inside our login component. So here let me paste this and change this with dot register container to login container. So let's add login. So now if you see the output, see the button color is changed, but here as you can see the text login is very small, right? So let me go to login component. Here instead of h2 let's add h1 so that the text will be bigger. As you can see it is bigger but it is not centered. So here inside this instead of h2 have to use h1 because now we have changed the h2 tag with h1. So now if you see the output, see the text is centered, but here as you can see for register we have added red color, but here it is white color. So let's add the color that we applied for our h1 tag inside this register, which is this color. Let me copy this color code and paste it here, and also use this font weight property and give the value as bolder so that our text will be bolded. See the color got changed, also it is bolder. After that, here as you can see, after clicking on this input, the border color is not changing like this. See in our register form, if I click on this, see we are getting some light red color as a box shadow. So let's add the styles as well. So let's copy this code which we have given for our label as well as input focus. So let me copy this and here let's paste that. Here let me paste this and change this value with register container to login container. So now if you see our login form, see after clicking on the input, we are getting box shade as red color. Okay, now I think our register form and login form are similar. Now if I click on this forgot password page, see the styles are very ugly, right? Now let's modify our forgot password page like this. So for that, let me close all files and open our forgot password page, which is here. And then let's here for this forgot password page, we have added the CSS file with name forgot password.css. Let's open that file here. Now here instead of this h2, let's add h1 so that our font will be bigger. So now if you see the output, let me go to forgot password page. See the text got bigger, but it is not centered. So now let's make that to be centered. So instead of this h2, have to add h1. So now as you can see the text is centered. After that, let's change the background image as well as let's make this forgot password form to be centered. So for that, here let's add another div tag with class name grandparent, and inside this let's cut this code and paste it inside this div tag with class name grandparent. Now let's add some styles to this div tag with class name grandparent. So here let's enter dot grandparent to select the div tag with class name grandparent, and let's copy the styles that we have given for our login component. So here let me copy this and paste it here. So now if you see the forgot password page, see our styles are changed, right? See, but the background color is in gray color, but we have to add this color. So for that, simply change this background color from this code to hashtag 171616, some light black color. So now as you can see the background color, see the background color is changed. Now let's add some styles for this input. So let's add the same styles that we have given for the for our login form input tags. So for that, here instead of this form we have to use dot forgot password container, because our form is inside our data with class name forgot password container. So now let's copy the styles that we have given for our login container input. Let me copy this, and here let's remove the styles and paste these styles. So now if you see the output, see our forgot password page input styles are changed. But if I click on this input text, as you can see the box shadow is in gray color itself, but we have to add some red color like this. See, after clicking on this we are getting red color for our login form. Let's add those styles for this forgot password page as well. So for that, simply copy these styles. So let's copy these all styles, because we also have to change the button color in forgot password page. So here let's paste that, and instead of this login we have to add, instead of this login container, let me select this and click on Ctrl D to select all the texts which are having login container. So now remove this and let's add dot forgot password container. So now if you see our forgot password page, see all the styles that we applied for our login page are applied in forgot password page as well. See, now let's change this forgot password text color like this. So for that, simply copy our, where is that red color? Here, let's copy this color code and paste it inside our h1 tag here. Sorry, I think that color code is not copied. Let me copy this again and paste it inside this color property. So now if you see the output, see the color for the forgot password text is changed from white to red. Now let's increase the bold size. Let's make this text to be bolder. So for that you can simply use font weight and then give the value as bolder. So now if you, so now if you see the forgot password text, see the text got bolded. Now let's add some padding between this text and this border. So for that you can simply, here instead of 10 pixels, let's add some 30 pixels. So now as you can see the spacing is increased. So let's give some padding inside this login form as well. So for that, let me go to login.css file, and here instead of 10 pixels, let's give 30 pixels. See, now there is a more space between this text and this container. So in the next video, here let me log in with my email and then my password. I think we're getting some errors, guys. Let me open browser console. Failure to fetch. Oh, we are getting course error, guys. Status blocked. Allowed origin localhost 517. Okay, we have to change our origin value which is inside our server.js file. See, it is currently 5173, but in this 5173 port number, currently I am running my demo project, which is this. But our original project is running on 5174, right? So we have to change this value from 5173 to 5174. So now if I click on this login button again, let me refresh the page and let's enter the details again. And let me enter my password. And now if I click on this login button, see, we are getting redirected. But here, as you can see, our homepage is looking very ugly, right? Not ugly, but we are only displaying some small text like welcome to homepage and a logout button. But instead of this, we have to update that homepage like this. Let me log in my demo project. Let me click on login. So we are going to update our homepage like this instead of this. So as you can see, we are getting some beautiful header. In the header, we are displaying our website name and then an author icon here. And if I click on this, we are getting a logout button. And if I click on logout button, it will display alert box. And inside this alert box, it will display a text like cancel continue. So we are going to build the header in our next video. So this video is already very lengthy, guys. That's why I don't want to increase my video length. I think you guys don't want to watch my video if the video is very lengthy. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye, guys.